Good evening, and welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans, the Think Show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so called African American didn't find his way to America in the trunk of a ship. I'm your host, the Indigenous One. And if you would, please smash that like button, share this video with your friends, people who, think people are trying to find alternatives. Let them know that they're the alternative. And by now, we should all know this. The name of this program this evening is Do Not Knock on a Closed Door of an Empty Room. And what I mean by that, and I was talking to a friend today, a real older friend. They're 95. And because I like to ask them, what do you think of the world? What do you see it as in your almost a century here? What is it about the world? What is it about the world? Crystal, how you doing? What is it about the world that you tell your grandkids about to watch out for? Because you've seen things come and go. You've seen cycles happen. What do you tell your grandchildren about this? About what you see, what's going on right now. And he said, don't knock on the closed door of an empty room. And I was like, okay, so elaborate. He said, man, we've all been given the opportunity, even himself. We're all given the opportunity. Nobody's better than nobody else. Nobody is bigger because you have that or you don't have that. We're all people. And whatever happens on this planet, you have access to it just like everybody else has access to it. We look at ourselves from other people's view of ourselves. That's what gets us twisted all the time. We look at ourselves from other people's glasses, and we always get it wrong. So, when we say, get with your ancestors, get with your family, this is what we mean. You have people in your family who've walked different shoes than you've walked. They may not have been the shoes you walked in, but remember, everybody's here for a reason. We don't know each other's reason. But the main reason we should be focused on is survival. How to keep the species going, how to keep the bloodlines pumping. That should be one of our main things that we look at, because these are the same conduits that you come through. You come through a mother and father and grandfather, uncles and aunt. You're connected to something. And this is what we're trying to get you to understand, that African Americans ain't Africans. You're connected to something, somewhere, some people, some stone, some tree, some whatever's on this planet that you vibrate to. You are here for a reason. Now, like was said earlier, we've all been given the opportunity to learn. Many of us don't take that. And so this is what is meant by, do not knock on a closed door to an empty room. Well, by now, damn near all your questions should be answered. You should know. Not by the TV, the news, nobody telling you. You should know, compared to what happened yesterday, what's happening today will let you probably know what's going to be the outcome tomorrow. So this is what I like to do. I like when people in the chat room, what they say. This is Lickle Engine Hummingbird. Mr. Davis, sometimes I feel so sad. This road is a tough one. Speaking the truth and the mockery you get while trying to help people regain freedom. So, Engine Hummingbird, this is what I mean. Don't knock on the closed door of an empty room. People don't want to know. Let them have their way. Do what you're supposed to do. You know what that is. Like my friend Edwin says, there's no greater authority outside of yourself. You know what to do. You came through the same mama. You came through the same process. You see stuff. You hear stuff. Everybody does. So what happens, little hummingbird, is this. People don't want to hear. They don't want to know because they don't want to know because they don't want to do anything. Those are the closed doors you don't want to knock. Don't worry about them. They're going to take care of themselves. They're going to take care of themselves. Do not worry about them. Because we're getting to a point now, and everybody should know this, especially you American Indians should know this. Your land has been defiled. I don't know if many of you have paid attention to the story that's coming out of Ohio about the tanker, the train that crashed, and what it's letting off in the air, what it's doing to the environment up there. These are the things that we say that we should know about. So what are we doing about that? Do we still work at those places that make sure those happen? Yeah. Do we help push this along? Yeah. Do we make sure? Do we help? And this is by no means everybody, but it is the majority. Do we make sure that the children are miseducated? Yeah. Do we lie to the youth? Yeah. But instead of coming, to grip with those facts, we rather lie and bullshit and try to act like we have no responsibility to the problem. Yeah, we all do. You know what's right or wrong. You know what's going on this planet is straight garbage. And as long as we support it, we're a part of it. Don't be part of it talking about like you're not. Because what you call African Americans, what you call blacks, what you call Negroes, they're a major part of it. They wanted to be a part of it. They marched and died to be a part of it. How's it going? And Copper Tone T says many of them are too far gone to teach at this point. And that's what I'm saying. You can't knock on the door of, people don't want to hear that. People want to watch the TV, man. People don't want to know the truth. You come up with a good idea, and this is where the family hooking up with the families for. You come from some people, you guys have, as a group, you guys have thing, for lack of a better word, things that other people don't have. You see, we never look at ourselves as part of the planet. We never look at ourselves as where we come from. Where do we come out of? On the planet? Where on the planet where do you reside? Your people, the majority of your people reside. Where you come from, the people who started out there, where are they buried? Don't where all those bones are buried? Don't they resonate with you? You see, of course, a lot of us have moved away from that. We don't even hear the voices calling us when they call us. You come from a people, you come from a species of people on the planet, and where they're from, your folks are from, is somewhere on this planet. Where you started out, who you are, what you ate, what were the resources, what vitamins and minerals are in your body. What are you? Who are you? You ask the average African American, Negro, Black person that, watch the look you get when you ask that question. So those are the people that don't want to know anything. You don't tell me nothing. You don't tell, do not knock on the door of an empty room. You'll save yourself a lot of energy. Like Tony says, many of them are too far gone to reach. So I mean, don't waste your time. It's not upon you. I mean, you of course you help if you want to, hey, family reunions, gatherings, you know, as a group of people, what direction you should be going in. Yeah, put your 2 cents into that. Put your 2 cents into that. Because since we've been separated from the land, you ever blow a daffodil? That's how it was taught to me. And everybody just scatters off in their own, whatever they do, in their own realm. A lot of times we put our attention into, uh, somebody hit me today and asked me, did I see um, the super time halftime? I'm like, I didn't say anything because it's like you get asked questions like that all the time, questions that don't mean nothing. Don't mean nothing. And I was making the point, don't pay attention to that stuff. Pay attention to you. And you'll find out that most people, they don't pay attention to themselves. They pay attention to things outside of themselves. They normally call those things stars. I guess the stars have some kind of relationship with the stars that are above our head at night. I don't know. But those stars above your head at night, what do they have to do with anything that you're doing now? What do the stars do? Not by what somebody told you. What do the stars have to do with you, any of them. And this is what happens to, you know, the majority. They look at other things and compare themselves with it. They look at other people, other things that they see on TV, and they somehow come connected with those people. And you can see in the last 30, 50 years what that has done to the so called African American community. Looking at things other than yourself as something greater than yourself. Don't you think that's a mistake? Shouldn't you look at yourself? I mean, it's yourself that's keeping you going. I'm not talking about the self where we tattoo our bodies and get our hair done and get a different baseball cap. I'm talking about the you that's heart is pumping. There's blood going through it through your body. The brain that's calculating everything that you do. The part of you that controls the exchange of air going in and out of your body. Isn't that a part of you that we should be paying attention more to instead of all this stuff that's going on outside of ourselves? Because what's going on inside of you is what's keeping this world go around. There used to be a song about 50 years ago by a group called the Stylistic People Make the World Go Round. Check that out if you ever get a chance. Stylistics, People Make the World Go Round. As I say all the time, when you listen to that uh, music, 70s, late 60s, early 70s, early 80s, so-called R&B music, I don't even think they have that as a genre anymore. Listen to the words that those people said and what connects them to you, to your past, is many of those cats, they were in bands. I haven't seen one of those in a long time either. I'm talking about in the mainstream. You know, you can go see a band play at the park or whatever, stuff like that. I haven't seen that in a long time. But a lot of those guys that were in those bands, their fathers and grandfathers came from bands. I mean, big band era, big bands in all these cities around here that played music. And those guys were able to pass the music on to that generation that were in the 60s, 70s, 80s. So if you listen to the words and the music, a lot of the words were passed down to them also. Check out what they say. Check out what they say. Gave you a lot. So really, we shouldn't have no questions. We should have no questions. All the information we got, all the information that was written and that was passed down, you just ignore it. You just ignore it. And then when things get how they're getting now, you want to recall it. Well, you better go back and get it because we're at a time now. Um, the people who are, you know, awakened to what's really going on, they have things to do. They have things to do. I mean, and this stuff has been going on for a long time. And where it's been ignored at, You can't ignore what's going on, what's happening to you. Your future, the future of your children depends on what these people are trying to do now. And as a group of people, we can't make one voice or something that's going to be personable to us. We have to follow everybody around, what everybody says. And every is nothing but a ball of confusion. Conserve your energy. Conserve your energy. One of the main points of contention is they try to have us scared and with no energy. Always arguing, always fussing, always and this is shown all over social media to get you to do it. Always talking about stuff that doesn't matter. Always talking about other people. Conserve your energy, mental energy. You want to keep your thinking options open. You want to question things. You want to come up with the answer for things. Because what's been given for answers now and given for truth now, it doesn't work. Conserve your energy. Do not waste it on nothing. You tell a person something that you think would be helpful to them and they shun you, don't want to hear it, go the other way. And don't go back that way. Now, there used to be a time where you can sit and, blah, blah, ask questions and yeah. But now, I mean, what do you think is going on in the world now? What you think is going on? What you think been going on in the world since 9/11? What do you think's been going on in the world since Barack Obama has been president? All that time is, passed. Do you think the people that supported that back then, do you think those people still support that type of life today? You have to understand your place in the world. Why are you here? What are you here to do? You should know that. Matter of fact, when you get with somebody, you should ask them that, male or female, what's your purpose? Why you're here? Many people don't even know they have a purpose. What kind of person is that? What are you here to do? You should at least know that. You have to understand your place in the world because these people that are running the world, making all these laws, telling you all this stuff to get inoculated and all this stuff, by now, everybody should know that that's a fraud. Everybody. Everybody. I'm talking the bum on the street should know that. We try to act like, I didn't know. Them days over, cuz. They have people out here who have lost their lives trying to make sure that the people are not dumb. We can eat up the whole night going through people who have spent their lives making sure that their people weren't dumb. And they die young. because they're wasting their energy on people who don't care. I mean, really, the people who control you hate you. The people who educate, put the indoctrination in the schools for your children hate you. The people that are making all this artificial food and putting all this chemicals in food and drink hate you. Guess what we do? We show our loves. uh, we make sure that they keep pumping that stuff through our blood. If you knew how these people thought about you, if you knew how these people thought about you, listen to them. They'll tell you. You worship them, put all your attention on them. They don't even know how to act. When they talk about you, the common man and woman, their fans, when they talk about their fans, look at how they talk to you. Never put your energy into somebody that's not about you. And you should always be about you. It's time to grow up. It's been time to grow up, really. Neely Fuller always makes the point that it's incumbent upon the ruling class to keep the people in a child-like trance, childlike behavior. That's why you always see so-called black men have baseball caps on, advertising for somebody else. See, that we don't want to hear that stuff, but we do it every day. The majority of people you see, that's how they get around. That's what life is to them. This is what we do. Always advertising somebody else. And don't know why they always lose. Always have something attached to you that signifies you worship somebody else. I mean, I hear they have a black Spider-Man now. Really? This is the majority. Got to look at the world the way it is. If you look at it the way it's not, you'll always be confused. Look at it in reality. Then you'll come up with ways to make it better for yourself. The majority of people only do what they're told, never had an organic thought in their life. I'm talking about this is the average person. They're always told what to do. Now, it used to be through radio. Then, after radio, came through the TV. Now we're in this social media We're in this social media era. Can't look at yourself from what somebody else say. You can't look at yourself from something that you see only on the screen that somebody else produces. That's what many people do. They want to be characters that somebody else wrote ye- years ago before they were here. They would rather be somebody that somebody else wrote about years ago, but won't be themselves. And if you ask, hey, wouldn't it be a better thing if just be yourself? You get cussed out. Trust me, I know. It's like the sister say, you tell people, you learn information and you want to share it. The masses of people will slap you in the mouth. Yo mama. As if though you're not important to find information and learn something. That's all that's saying. So all that on the screen stuff, uh, worshiping people on the screen, yeah. Worshiping scientists, worshiping stars, rock stars, politicians. Those people have never done anything. Never done anything. What about you? Do you have ideas? Could you imagine to get the ideas of the people who are always shunned, who are always told they can't be nothing, who are always told that it never work, who are always told to do something but don't do it because they know that's not the way to go? Wouldn't you want to have their thoughts? Wouldn't you want to know what they've researched? Wouldn't you want to know what they know? Do we have a system like that where we can facilitate those ideas? Where if somebody points out some things that are truthful, it's accepted instead of shunned and made fun of? Isn't that how we're being manipulated today? Because we all over the place, and this is for the indigenous people of America. The people that come from other places, this is not for you. This, you understand what I'm saying, because this is where you come from. It's like this where you come from too. Everybody's on this planet has a purpose. The people who live in China, they have a purpose for being on the planet. Every single last one of them. I'm sure is not to be puppets for the Chinese government. They're forced into that. But with so many of them, they don't really know what their purpose is on the planet. The people that are called, who are classified as African American, Black, and Negro don't. How can you tell? Because people from other places can come take over their land and make them buy their products, all without paying a tax. But they tax you when you go buy their stuff. If you look around now, you're seeing a whole bunch of things that's happening in the environment that we're gonna have to, really take some seriousness to. Like I said, that thing that train derailment that went on in Ohio. You don't think that's getting into the rivers and lakes and finding its way to the streams around here? This is what I'm saying. These are the people who run the world now. This is how they run the world. How is that happening? Because the masses of people are cool with it. You're not tripping. You're not catching all the volcanoes erupting, all the earthquakes that are going on in places that they've never been before. We're not paying attention to the climate. I mean, cities being flooded out. I mean, check on it. Well, one of the things that you can use social media for is check out what's going socially around the world to catch you up. There's a website where you can go to cities and pull up the cameras that are around the cities and look around the cities. I don't know the name of it, but just by me saying that, you can do that. You can go online and pull up the cameras in New York City and look around New York City. You can pull up the camera system in Los Angeles and look and see what's going on in Los Angeles. Nobody has to give you information for that. That's right there. You got to know that. You have to know these things. People can't tell you all. You have to know this. See, a lot of times we think we can just go around here not knowing nothing. And a lot of people like it like that. Don't have to know nothing. Oh, I get told all that. Yeah, I don't have to know nothing. I can be stupid if I want to. I had a mother with children tell me that. I can be stupid if I want to. Then 30 years later, now you want to know something. You were given this information 30 years ago. You ignored it. You didn't share it with nobody. You didn't teach your children nothing. Now you're here. Now you're mad because you can't find out stuff. You turned away 30 years of information because you didn't want to know nothing. That's what I'm saying. Don't knock on that door that don't have nobody there. In 1933, 34, something like that. And this is always a cold story to me because it just goes to show you, nah. Around early 1930s, cat named Carter G. Woodson wrote a book, The Miseducation of the Negro. Classic book. If you never read it, read it. Miseducation of the Negro. Do you know from 1933, this 90 years ago, that book hasn't sold 1 million copies yet? From 1933 to 2023, that book hasn't sold 1 million copies yet. Why? Because the people that book was intended for, learning and getting information and using that information to make change. That's really not what they want to do. Think about it. All that's going on in this world, all that has happened to us, we still don't really care about information. Who does that fall on? I mean, you have the people down here in the South. They're oh, these immigrants moving here, man. They're taking over. No, they're not taking over. You're moving over. This is what happens when you kill yourself off. Other people come in to replace you, right? And this has been said since the 1970s. You wipe out a generation of people, you kill out a generation of people. What happens 20, 30 years down the road when the children that those people that were killed would have children? What happens to those children? Those people are gone, makes room for other people. What you call the African American, Negro, Black, they don't see stuff like that. All they see is to kill myself. It's called menticide. Look it up. Menticide. Can't even communicate with each other. All relationships are twisted. Why? Because you're trying to relate to each other how other people relate to each other. You don't relate to yourselves like those people, your ancestors, who were called themselves nations, were whole swaths of land, where just think of the black belt region in the South that goes across Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. That black, they call that the black belt. Mississippi runs through it. Imagine all those people who grew and developed over all those years. Those are your ancestors, yet some Super Bowl halftime show gets your attention. Don't knock on the door, because when they answer, you're going to be pissed. I mean, we can just take the history from 1980 to now. I mean, if with the um, this is why another reason why we say speak to your elders. Speak to the elders who were living in some of this history that have made some of these changes to get you to how you think now, to get you to think how you think now. Ask them what happened. They'll give you a better scenario than me, because though I know it and it was passed down, they lived it. They can put a whole nother spin on it. The climate. If you've ever been to Phoenix, Arizona, if you've ever been to Los Angeles, California, Las Vegas, one of the things you'll notice is that there are deserts. Deserts. And one of the things you're going to have to ask yourself, because this is what I'm saying, this is evolution. You're planning, you giving your children information on what's coming. How did these places become desert? Bombs were dropped on them. Nuclear explosions were happening. This was 50, 60 years ago, to kill out the land there. That, what happened back then, is going to have an effect on tomorrow. Shouldn't we know that? Shouldn't we be planning and preparing for that? Shouldn't that be important? People always trying to tell you about the climate. Have you ever got a warning about an earthquake? No. You haven't been giving a warning about nothing. All these news people, TV people, scientists, they're a joke, y'all. There is no greater authority outside of yourself. You know damn near everything that's going on. All you got to do is think about it. Talk to like-minded people. Stop believing in shit that don't make no sense. Question it. You question it. Ask yourself the question. You're going to get back an answer. All you can do is ask yourself. That shows you we don't really give ourselves credit. That's why we call ourselves black and all these other ideologies and ideas that people have given us of how we refer to ourselves is to make sure we lose, right? Yeah. And why aren't we figuring it out yet? I hear the youngsters, they always blaming the old folk. Well, you can't blame them. You got to blame yourself because you have the same. You can get the same information they could have got. You looking at the world too. See, you're mad at them because you're looking at the world the way they told you to look at it when they themselves don't know. They're just doing what they were told. And that's what they've taught you to do, what you're told, not what's needed to be done, not why you're here. You got to think about you're here for a purpose. You're here to solve problems. They're not being solved any other way. Everything is a guesstimate. Everything is a guesstimate. Basically, the only fighting we should be doing is for life, to live. We think the world is going to be taken care. People all over the world are going to look after us, don't they? Aren't they trying to survive? Aren't people coming to your forefathers where your father forefathers once dwelled? Why are they coming here? To learn. You standing right on top of it, and that's not really what you want to do. You never ask yourself why people run to America? You ever ask yourself that? Because they can't do over there what you've created over here. They can come over here and make a movie telling you to kill yourself. Guess what you would do? Do what the movie they make say. Together, we are smart. Together, we are smart. When does it get twisted up? When we bring in other ideas from other places. You think about your ancestors, what they were used for, what they could do, what they invented. You have those same gifts about you now. So how are 2 million of you sitting in jail? How are other people can use you to make millions? You always look at yourself as nothing. It's only 13% of us. Where do you go in the world? And the indigenous people are the lowest amount of people in the population. Tell me one place. I'll send you a book. If you can tell me one place where this is going on, where the indigenous people are the minority. That's why they have you call yourself Black, African American, blah, blah, blah. So you'll never get it. And most never do. Um, what's being talked about, and when we should know this and keep this in mind, what's been going on around the planet is something called a planetary immunodeficiency virus. Planetary, this is around the planet, immunodeficiency virus, where your immune system is deficient from the environment. We talked about that. Talked about the chemtrails, talking about the artificial food, the drink. All these major corporations have their tentacles all over the world, and they're feeding you this stuff. Bottled water, I mean, all this stuff. What is it? It's taxing your immune system. All these diseases are coming through. Like I say, this is planetary. This is happening all over the world. Plus, everybody's getting inoculated. So things you got to pay attention to. Planetary immune deficiency virus. You check out all of the advertisement done on all these new drugs. Really? And who's always in the commercial? Look like African American, smiling, cheesing. The immune system is so taxed that it can't even hold up. I mean, you think about the produce your people used to produce, the foods your people used to produce, compared to what they're getting now. You'll get what I'm saying. Many of you grandmothers used to have gardens out of this world. You have to produce the food. You're gonna have to get the vitamins and minerals that you need. You have to do that. If you don't, that planetary immunodeficiency virus, oh, you see it happening now. Admire the beauty of nature. Admire the beauty of nature, what has been put here. We just admire the concepts of other people's minds, what other people tell us. That's what we admire. And then we think we're way better because we admire what they admire. We won't admire streams, rivers, animals. We don't even admire that. We don't even check out about how ants move, how they're able to sustain themselves. We don't even try to get anything out of that. Since the oceans have been destroyed, since the air has been chemicalized, the earth defiled, if you ever get a chance, go through and look up a governmental project, and it's going on all over America, called super funds. Super funds. Super funds are, I don't know how it's done, money given to clean up some of the toxic sites around America. Some of the toxic sites. We just named one with that train crash up in Ohio. See, that'll be a super fund. And how do you clean that up? This stuff is getting into the soil. This stuff is getting into the streams, water system, root systems. You're messing the planet up. And we support these corporations. Since all these things are happening, especially to the planet, because we already seen that we really don't care what happens to us, but what happens to the planet. So the planet, since the planet who shares itself with the people, since the people don't really give a shit about the planet, and they don't even really give enough, they don't really care about themselves. What the planet will start doing, and this is, you can just go through history and see this, the planet will start protecting itself. Doesn't matter who's on it. The planet will start strengthening itself, getting rid of things that doesn't help it. That's why you see hurricanes come through. Come on, man, you got to clean up. We can't use this on the planet. You see tornadoes come through. These are just little signs letting you know, hey, going back to the deserts of Los Angeles, Phoenix, and Las Vegas, those were nuclear wars that hit, not wars, I'm sorry. They were using nuclear weapons in those places. If you stand in Phoenix, Arizona, you know you in a crater. What hit that place? What hit it? We'll be standing right in the middle of it and we'll never get it. So saying all that to say this, the planet is going to try to cleanse itself, trying to maintain its status in this system, this matrix that we're in. The planet is going to do that. If it means the people on it have to go, so be it. It's happened before. Okay, so study the planet. Study the islands. What were those islands before they became islands? We're in a cycle, you guys. We're in a cycle. Your life is a cycle. The day is a cycle. You're given all these warnings. You're given all these examples. It's right in front of you. It's right in front of you. So remember, do not knock on a closed door of an empty room. Don't knock on the closed door of an empty room, y'all, because you are here for a reason. You're here to do something. I don't know what it is. You know what it is. Everybody know what their purpose is on this planet. If you don't know, find out. That's what you should be doing anyway. What's your purpose on the planet? Why are you here? Find that out about yourself. Hey, I want to ask you guys to get on over to AAA, African Americans Ain't Africans.com. AA.A. AAAin't.com. Support us. The books we sell, one of the things, a lady just bought a book from us. She said, I don't need my glasses to read this, because the book was written where the font isn't so small where you got to strain your eyes. Remember, there's never an intention for you to read anything. That's why they say, you want to hide something from a Negro, put it in a book. We don't like to read because the font is real small. So a lot of people use magnifying glasses. And African Americans Ain't Africans, we've blown up the font. Easier, way easier to read. So get on over and check us out and share the information. The indigenous Americans, the indigenous people from America, if you don't know already, your home is being trashed. It's trashed any further, it might not even be worth living on. Got to get busy with it. Got to act like it's yours. Got to act like you are somebody. So teach this to your children, your grandchildren, like we see the grandmamas doing already. So look, my hour's up. Getting ready to start another day tomorrow. Look at yourself. Why are you here? Who are you? Who are your people? Where do you come from? What did they do? Who were they? What were their names? What were the names of those nations? All those people were here before all these other names and ideologies that you talk about even showed up on these shores. So you guys have a good night, and we'll see you next time. Peace.